Good afternoon, good morning. This is Mark Johnson from Loyalty360. Hope everyone's happy, safe, and well. I want to welcome you back to another edition of our Leaders in Customer Loyalty series. In this series, we have the privilege of speaking with leading brands about what they are seeing and hearing on the front lines of customer, channel, and brand loyalty. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Chad Crawford. He is a Chief Brand Officer at CKE Restaurants. How are you today, Chad?
I'm wonderful, Mark. Thank you, and good morning. Looking forward to the conversation.
Absolutely. Same as well. Looking forward to learning a little bit more. So first off, we love to start these on a more personal note. We like to get to know those who we're talking to a little bit more about them, their background, their passion. So we'd love to know a little bit more about yourself, your position within the organization. And also we'd like to get a fun fact as well. Do you like to jump out of planes? Do you have 14 degrees? You know, what's a fun fact?
Excellent. Wonderful. Well, yes, as you mentioned, my name is Chad Crawford. I'm the Chief Brand Officer here at CKE Restaurants. I oversee marketing, culinary, digital communications, and have been here about 2.5 years and have had the pleasure and privilege to spend my life working on large global restaurant retail brands. And, just happy to be here having the time. So a fun fact, let's see, a fun fact. Certainly, as I have grown up and looking at all of the things that I've had the opportunities to do, one of those is I love being on the water, and actually grew up spending a number of summers and time sailing and away at various different camps doing that. So certainly a pleasure to be on the water, and something that I've always enjoyed doing in my free time.
That's awesome. For those who may not be familiar with CKE, I know Carl's Jr. Hardee's are brands that are part of your organization. Can you give us a little history on Carl's Jr. and Hardee's? What you guys do, how you do it, kind of the focus of both organizations. That'd be great to know as well.
Absolutely. We have two great iconic brands. The Carl's Jr. brand, founded on the West Coast. We celebrated the 80th anniversary last year. So long-standing, amazing brand known for flavor, quality, signature products like our Western Bacon Cheeseburger, innovation, and lots of items that were first to market. Similarly, Hardee's, residing primarily on the eastern half of the US, a brand that's also been around for 60 years. And both brands obviously bring to life amazing things like charbroiled burgers, hand-breaded chicken, and celebrate their guests each and every day. The Hardee's brand also has the strong roots in the East, as I mentioned, in the eastern half of the US, and certainly has amazing products like made from scratch biscuits, amazing kind of breakfast offerings, and has been part of communities in those markets that it serves for, like I said, over 60 years.
Okay, great. And recently, Carl's Jr. and Hardee's announced a new loyalty program, My Rewards. Can you tell us a little bit about the program, how you went about designing the program and why you created it, and maybe what you're looking to see as the outcome for the program?
Of course, Mark. This has been a relatively quick journey, as I would say, in the digital growth that we have experienced. We started this initiative about 2 years ago. Not only with loyalty, which I'll talk to specifically to your question, but really in a technological overhaul of our platforms overall, ensuring that our restaurants, our franchisees and their restaurants, our corporate infrastructure was really built and set up to enable longer term technological advancements. Loyalty is a critical component of that. And over the last 12 months, as we've built this program, we really approached it from the guest's eyes. What were the things that they are most interested in? How do they like to interact with the brand? How can we further build the deep relationship that they already have, but further the ease of access to those brands? That really brought us to the platform that we've launched of My Rewards, which is effectively, provides two key areas. One is that you earn 10 stars, and we use stars. My friend that's sitting over my shoulder, Happy Star, is a key piece of our brand and is iconic to both brands. So you earn 10 stars for every dollar spent. And as we built the program and listened to our consumers, we wanted to ensure that there were rewards that were easily achievable, that could be unlocked with relatively approachable thresholds at the 150, 300, and 500 star level. And that within each of those, we had our great signature products that guests were looking for. We knew that guests wanted predictability, they wanted to be able to interact with the brands, and they wanted some dependability, but also access to the signature products like Western Bacon Cheeseburger, Famous Star, and our hand-breaded chicken sandwich. So as we evolved, Mark, we really listened to the consumer to understand what they were interested in, how they wanted to interact, and design the program so that they would have the most opportunity and access to engage in the ways in which they want.
Well, I think it's interesting. You mentioned two fairly salient points. Being able to listen to and understand your customers, that's something that brands have traditionally struggled with. They hear in a more passive manner, but they don't truly listen to. And being able to put together a program that addresses their opportunities, their interests is very, and it's a great thing to be able to do. But having the technology, the infrastructure to enable that can be very difficult right now. There's CDPs, there's different AI and ML tools. So being able to create that simplicity for your franchisee operators is a clarion call right now within QSR, and it's great that you've been able to do that.
It is, and it's certainly a pride point. And I would even caveat it a little bit differently, which is going into the program, we didn't really have any predisposition. And even now that we've launched, we also don't have any stubbornness around it. Our goal is to continue to listen to guests as they interact with the program, as we start to build out, and spend that time listening to them. And we'll certainly refine as we go. I think that's part of the wonderful thing about technology, is that as guest needs adapt and evolve, if the platforms are built in a manner in which the enablement is there for us to do that, it's a very powerful way to go forward.
Okay. When you look at customers changing, customers change. They were changing before COVID. They changed obviously during COVID, and whether it's being able to do online pickup or buying online, pickup in store, whatever it may be. How has order ahead and delivery, those features, impacted kind of a normal walk-in drive-through restaurant? How's that impacted your customer base? Are there pros and cons? How do you see that?
We see that there are traditional QSR consumers, and certainly those that are loyal to both the Carl's and Hardee's brands, that continue to use the service mode that works for them, whether they're coming into Hardee's and enjoying and sitting down and dining with us for breakfast, or coming through the drive-through at lunch, dinner to grab a delicious burger on the go. What I would say, though, is back to my earlier point, it really delivers the ease of access. What I think we have seen and what has happened is consumers are looking for more ways to simply interact with brands, to do it on their time, on their schedule. And that service mode may change for them day to day. If they're coming in for an afternoon snack, if they're joining us for breakfast in the morning. And I think the advent of the digital technology, the order ahead, the ability to, predetermine and pre-order, have just allowed them more ease of access to the brand and more points for them to come and enjoy the great food that we provide. So it's just further enhancing the overall guest experience, which ultimately is the goal. As far as the restaurants are concerned, both our restaurants as well as the restaurants that our franchisees and operate, it also allows the teams to have a little bit more predictability, because versus folks coming in or coming through the drive-through, ordering that, or coming to the counter, which is still a wonderful option. Now the restaurants can get fed, no pun intended, those orders as they come in from the digital ecosystem, allowing them to really kind of be planful in the production, ensuring that they're putting forth the most high quality, great expression of our food to those guests when and how they want it.
Okay. With a points-based program, earning points and redeeming them for food purchases, it's kind of standard, but I think you guys are doing some very unique things to differentiate, that process. So, what do you think is unique about your kind of customer loyalty approach and makes you stand out from some of your competitors?
I think that there are a few key components of that. I would first speak to that having the tiered approach to rewards has been certainly a very positive and solid interaction that we've had with the guests so far. The ability, almost Mark, in a gamified way, where you achieve a threshold and they're wonderful offerings, but it encourages and certainly builds the relationship to move on to those next tiers.
Yep.
To sort of unlock those signature items, the iconic items like our hand-breaded chicken and Western Bacon Cheeseburger. we're also able to put forth other surprise and delight opportunities as we move forward. Whether right now and you order on the app and earn double points. When you sign up, you get a unique opportunity to enjoy some signature products for free, 10% off digital offers. And as we build and as we learn, and it's back to the earlier point, the guest is going to tell us rather what they're interested in, and we're going to continue to refine and learn and listen, and ultimately have built the platform to have that adaptability. And I do believe that will be an advantage as we move forward.
That's awesome. I think having tiers in a QSR program is very unique as well. And I think that kind of speaks to some of that brand loyalty you have, and making sure the program is synergistic with the brand, which is great to hear. When you look at personalization, it's a hot topic within our member base. How do you create more personalized and unique, engaging experiences? How do you customize your loyalty offering? How are you using personalization within your new customer loyalty program?
Fundamentally, as we've launched it, and as you mentioned, personalization certainly becoming more and more important to consumers and resonating every day. They want more customization. One of the things at the baseline is, even within the tiers of earnings, there are multiple options. So people can personalize within their own selections of those items that they're rewarded. So there are breakfast items, there are snack items, there are treat dessert items, there are center of the plate lunch, dinner entrees. So they're able to kind of self-personalize their experience and enjoy their rewards. Additionally, as we move forward, it's really about the flexibility of the platform that we've built. And it enables us to cater to guests and their demand for really cross-channel engagement. So we can certainly adapt and learn and put forth, but our goal is to listen, understand the consumer, and ultimately make those enhancements around what they're looking for from our brands.
Okay, that's great. When you look at emotional loyalty, another very salient topic, very germane today to brands. Understanding what emotional loyalty is, how brands can grow it, measure it, understand it. How do you define emotional loyalty? And is that something you're hoping to build and grow within the new program?
Absolutely. I mean, both Carl's Jr. and Hardee's have phenomenal, amazing guests that are currently loyal to both of those brands. And I think, as you've mentioned, the emotional connection to a brand these days is becoming more and more important. And that comes from a few different areas. It comes from dependability. It comes from the menu and the offerings that you serve, the atmosphere in which you serve them in, and ultimately the service modes and expressions in which they're looking to interact. So it's really the reason we created My Rewards, because it certainly allows for guests to have ease of access to our brands in more manners and more ways, whether they're coming in, whether they're ordering ahead, whether they're having a product delivered to their home, all of those still building their affinity and connection to the brands. Ultimately, it's also why, as we move forward, the listening part of this is going to be so critical, and listening to those consumers. And I think any consumer also wants to be heard, not just heard in how they're working and interacting and enjoying your product, but also heard when there is feedback, whether they're taking a survey, providing direct feedback, that we all learn and adapt from that. And I think that's part of this platform that's going to be, a true opportunity for us as we move forward, is listening, adapting, and refining.
Yeah, I think that's a very poignant point as well. Just if they're giving you data points, especially zero-party data that you can action around, you need to make sure that you're stewards of the data, which it sounds like you're doing a great job of making sure that happens, to kind of build that emotional loyalty and build that trust, and then not use the data in a way that's not aligned. And that's great to hear that you're doing that.
And we also have fun. Use a couple examples. I mean, last year at Carl's Jr., the El Diablo Thick Burger is one that's been a fan favorite. It hasn't been around, but anytime you listen to consumers and hear something they're asking for, we brought it back last Halloween for a limited kind of run. So I'm sure, as you've seen in many of the other engagements that you've looked at, when consumers are asking for, talking about products or memories or things that are deeply connecting to the brand, and you're able to act on, execute, and bring those back to life too, I think it furthers that connectivity and emotional loyalty as well.
Okay. You mentioned it took a team to kind of launch My Rewards. What technologies are you utilizing to create this seamless digital experience with your customers?
Sure. And really the team was both internal and external. So aside from our amazing partnership internally here between our marketing team, our digital team led by our Chief Technology Officer, Phil Crawford, our operations organization, all of the things that prepared us, not only from the platform enablement, but from the restaurant readiness standpoint. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't say that our franchisees have been amazing partners as well, because they've wanted to and really been a great sounding board and partners as we've brought this to life, because obviously without them, and their participation, it would be a challenge. But as far as the technology, I mean, we really updated and standardized our point of sale systems. We partnered with both Punch and Olo to bring forth the loyalty platform, the enablement, the back end, and all of the structural things that have really brought us to where we are today. And the benefit was that we were able to bring this whole ecosystem to life sort of at the same moment. So instead of piecing things together or trying to get systems that interacted with each other, we had the benefit over the last 12 to 24 months to really build it in a cohesive, planned environment with great partners like those I mentioned.
That's awesome. When you look at customer loyalty, it's definitely evolving and making sure that it works from a technology perspective. Having kind of internal organizational teams and external teams is very important. What do you think the next big thing for your brand's approach to customer loyalty, customer experience, engagement is?
It's a great question, and having just launched this really within the last week, for us, the next big thing is understanding the usefulness, the engagement, and how the platform is functioning to our guests. So I think the next big thing for us right now is to really build the growth trajectory, understand the menu optimization opportunities that we might have of how people and what people are looking to engage with, and really bring this momentum to life, both in the digital space, but how it converts in store. So, I would say, Mark, that right now we're in the growth and learning phase. And if we're effectively listening to our guests and to the consumers that are coming through our doors, the next big thing is going to be the next big thing that they want and expect from us as Carl's Jr. and Hardee's.
Okay. And kind of follow-up question with regard to that. Is there anything that Loyalty360 can do to help you in your journey with regard to customer loyalty, metrics, peer networks? I mean, what can help you, with the understanding that you already have kind of a detailed and a kind of knowledgeable team internally and externally? Are there other things that you would like to know about customer loyalty that we could help bring?
Absolutely. I think it's a great question. And I think any of us that continue to want to move forward have to be curious and open to learnings that can come from a host of different places. I think one of the most interesting areas of exploration that would be a great dialogue, Mark, that maybe we can have as we move forward, is there are a lot of different pieces of technology that are very appealing for different ways that support loyalty, that support e-commerce. But understanding the ones that are most impactful to your brand specifically, I think, is part of the dialogue that's most important as we move forward. And I think that would be a great conversation and learnings that we could partner on, and I would love to hear more about, which is whether it's fast food QSR like ours with drive-through, fast casual dining, and even into the more retail space, sort of the big box, how people are using direct to consumer. Because I do think that there is such an array of technologies that understanding those, beside from listening from your guests, that are most impactful to your business is a great area for discussion and debate.
The technology, the MarTech landscape is evolving quickly, rapidly. And, we help brands. We have an analyst approach at Loyalty360. So we probably assess 75 different technologies. But I think what's unique, though, is getting it from the brands who may be using that technology. What do they like? What do they not like? Does it work? Did it live up to the kind of the obligations or interests you had? I think that's a true story as well. And would love to talk to you more about that at some other time.
Fantastic.
All right. Well, Chad, thank you very much for taking the time to, kind of talk to us today. It's very interesting what you're doing at both restaurants, with Carl's and Hardee's, and how you bring them together through the My Rewards program, and looking forward to learning more about the program throughout the remainder of the year.
Thanks, Mark. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for the time.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and join us back for another edition of our Leaders in Customer Loyalty series soon. Have a wonderful day.